Welcome back, welcome back,
Welcome back.
I'm Adrian Pawat and this is the All 8 podcast alongside me, my co-host, Angelo Pietersen. Angie, sien die feit is uit?
8, but episode 16 is
Binne. Ons is binne. We're going to
Here
chat
we go.
briefly over some results from the Super Rugby, your Challenge Cup, your Heineken Cup, as well as your Club Rugby. Some exciting fixtures that happened this weekend. This
Very
past
exciting,
weekend, and,
very exciting.
Some last minute wins for certain teams and some last minute losses for certain teams. But other than that, we're going to bring the gears. And once again, we would like to thank you guys for sharing, liking, and subscribing our content. We are here for you and you are here for me. Or for us, let's say that.
Here
We go. And our guest on the show tonight is a remarkable person within the communities, within
Great
SA
coaching.
Rugby as well, in terms of played at the highest level. Coaching at the Varsity Cup level, and starting off coaching with the big dog, Dis Norman,
Here we go.
Peter D, at UWC, and then progressing to being the head coach of the Young Guns in the Varsity Cup, in the Young Guns competition, and being the kicking consultant. And he's currently at Milnerton High School as the backline coach, as well as the director of coaching at Northern's Rugby Club in Elsies.
Here we go. All 8 family, episode 16, with our guest, Patrick Pietersen, is in the house. All 8 is binne. Patrick Pietersen, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a great honor for us to have you here as an individual. Thanks for your wife and your family for allowing you.
I was almost divorced, my friend.
Please, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Because we have a phenomenal person here. Patrick Pietersen, big name. Former SA Blitzboks. Here we go. Huh? Former SA Blitzboks.
Not necessary to mention that.
Let's start with, who is Patrick Pietersen?
I'm coming from a very small community in Ravensmead, born in Ravensmead. My parents stays in Ravensmead, all my family stays in Ravensmead. Attend Nebo Primary School and attend Florida High School. So very good community in those days. It was a great community to start your career and to live in the Ravensmead itself.
And then, Pat, if we look at where you were from, you ended up playing at Northern's Rugby Club, if I'm not mistaken. Did you start off at Tigerwood, or did you play at Northern's first and move to Tigerwood? Because that was arch rivals.
Now you see, Pari, now that is where politics is coming in again, but I don't want to go there. In those years, it was Federation and Saru. I played a little bit at both. But I ended up in Northern's because my family was Federation people, or they grew up in the Federation. And I started actually my rugby at Bluebirds Rugby Club. It's affiliated with Northern's Rugby. That time, Northern's was a union on itself. So yeah, and I grew up at Bluebirds Rugby Club, and from there onwards, I went to Northern's Rugby Club, or Northern's Union.
And then, Pat, you also, from there, you obviously progressed, played some provincial rugby. I know you played a bit at the Griquas as well. I think you played at Falke.
No. Falke, I never end up at the Falke. I always tell myself I will never end up at the Leopards or at Griquas. At the end of the day, first ended up at the Leopards in 2001, and after it in 2003, I ended up at Griquas. So, yeah. It was like a years though.
And then from there, you obviously went on to play SA Sevens.
No, before that.
Before that?
Wait, that's way before that. Chester earmarked at me, I think it's 2000. And even with Norman Abiko, he was a great Sevens coach as well. I first started with him with the Springbok Sevens, and then onwards with Chester in his first year of Sevens coaching.
Okay.
So Pat, as we know, to play Sevens you must have speed. Or what? So just correct me.
No, you correct. But in those days, you can also just drink a little bit of petrol, then you've got speed. So why do you worry about
So, Pat, playing all for all these unions and on a big stage. So, where does your love for coaching start?
Actually, to be honest with you, when I was at Griquas in 2003, we had a great coach in, what's his name, Nico Serfontein. I think he's working now also for Sarfu. And we chatted after practices, and he was telling me always, Pat, don't you want to maybe do a little bit some kicking with the schoolboys up in Pots? And so I said to him, listen, I don't think I'm made for it. And afterwards, he was just motivating me. And then in the middle of the season, Mark Graaf was telling me, listen, I think you must chase after your dreams. You are a good kicker, so why don't you try it at least? And from there onwards, I decided, okay, I'm going to study a little bit of coaching while I'm at Northwest Leopards. And from there onwards, I found it very interesting in coaching because I was sitting a little bit with Mark Graaf and chatted with him on the stadium, how he's thinking of rugby and stuff like that. So that is where my real love for coaching while I was playing come into play.
And coach, obviously, you coached me as well, and Angelo. And we know or your philosophy was you play what's in front of you. We can see by the way the teams you have coached, like the Young Guns, as well as coaching, helping assist with the Varsity Cup, and you are currently at Milnerton High School. We can see the attacking philosophy behind your coaching. Was that always the way you wanted your team to play specifically in terms of when you were playing, or was it something that you have like learned after you retired from rugby?
I need to be honest with you. When I was starting my real coaching career at UWC under Peter de Villiers, he was always telling me, look at the dynamics of a player before you start coaching him. Knowing the player first before you coach him. You cannot just coach a player and assume he's going to be one of the greatest attacking rugby players. All of a sudden then he's not. Maybe then a good kicker. Like when I started coaching at UWC, I coached Darian Hawk, for example, it's at Boland or Queen, Langeveld. Those guys got natural rugby attacking abilities. So it makes us easy as a coach just to adapt and put him in the right positions. You understand? So that is where your attacking philosophy comes from. It's like the same like other parent was asking me now the other day, I want to improve my son's kicking, he's kicking all over the show. For me, to fix it, it's great. But I cannot fix my mistakes in his kicking abilities. It's not going to be fair.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You must first look at the dynamics, what the attacking player can offer you before you coach him. Know the player first, like Peter de Villiers always said, and then you do the coaching.
Okay, so Coach Pat, after you know your player, so how do you develop trust and communication with your players?
That will always be a stumbling block at the end of the day because, it's like I said again, first know the player, his in and outs, know his surroundings, know his ways of doing things. And the main thing for me is always look at the player's situation at home and how's his performance in school or how's he performing in class. Like AD knows exactly what I'm talking about at UWC. So you must first look at their dynamics before you can trust a player. Because the main thing is the player must trust you first before you trust the player. That is how the cookie crumbles in coaching.
And coach, if we're going now back to your playing days, what was a memorable moment for you as a player?
Yo, AD, there was many, to be honest with you. There was actually a lot. Just to be part of, like I said again, my first senior rugby career in professional. It was with Ellen Zondag, those years. It was a great team, like your Tox van der Linde, your Andrew Aitkins, your Bobby Skinstead. That was my first great breakthrough. You're playing with Springboks, you're playing with guys that knows the game well, Tinus Lindy, those type of guys. And from there on, I grew up in the Western Province system, and then it becomes Gert Smal and Karel du Plessis. I was part of a great Currie Cup squad that win twice the Currie Cup in a row, I think in 2000. So I was part of that squad, and that was where I literally find myself and say, listen, if you really want to put trophies in the cabinet, you must work hard. So that was the highlight. Even at Boland, when I play under Harvey's for in Dion Davids, we won a Vodacom Cup in those years. So that's also part of my highlights. Even at Griquas as well, we won also a Vodacom Cup, I think. So yeah, that is highlights that will always stays with me.
And then, obviously, if we look, coach was obviously a player coach also back in the day. And also famous victories against UWC. Walk us through that kick.
Nah, listen, that was
now what? 2012.
2012, 2013. Yeah, that was lekker days because I'd made great friends in my rugby career, like, you know, Donovan Sinclair is also a coach now these days, Alfonso Jacobs, and those guys. So it was easy to play with them and easy to sometimes to win teams because, you know, we've got the bonding and friendship and trust on a rugby field. So, and that day at UWC, because UWC was coached by, I think, Dion Davids.
Yes, that
year. And normally when UWC was playing against clubs in their division, they were saying that we just rock up and we like earning 50 points already before even running onto the field. And that day, Nodens was rocking up there with a team like experienced guys. I'm telling you now, experienced. And Quentin Davis was also playing. The first thing we know exactly, students don't want to be in their faces and the physical thing of rugby. And that is where Donovan Sinclair started it. We started it off with getting physical and then the points on the board. While they was getting physical, I'm putting the points on the board. So it was easy for us.
Clean zone. Clean zone.
Clean slates. So yeah, and that was, but that kick was my club kick highlight actually. I kicked it, I think,
It was
55 meters. So yeah, and that was really the highlight. The other highlight of my kicking career was, I think, was at Griquas and at the Leopards. So where I slotted like a 70-meter kick. So yeah, there's a lot of kicking highlights, but those three highlights was my best of my kicking career.
Coach Pet, op 'n afdag, as jy weet nou, jy het nou baie tyd gespend op 'n laaitjie. Maar jy coach hom, jy coach 'n team en hy is nou sy kicking advisor. En hy het nou 'n afdag. As 'n coach, wat is die wise words om daai game om te draai as 'n player?
Want nou, ek het met baie skoppers oor die jare gewerk, met Darien Hawk om terug te kom, net na Darien Hawk of Kwyt Langeveld by UWK. Dit was to be great skoppers. Darien Hawk, kan ek sê, was in die klas waar ek gewees het. Long race kicking. Kwyt was a very deadly sword range kicker. But, en dan sê ek altyd maar vir hulle op die einde van die dag, is nie hoe jy skop nie, is wat jy jou brein gaan as jy skop. Soms jy val weg van wat jy moet doen, en as jy by die bal kom, all of a sudden, wil jy net optel. In skoppe werk het nie so nie. If you don't focus from the word go, you will never kick the ball through the poles. En om terug te kom, om 'n ouetjie op te tel, is actually baie maklik. Want as hy goed rugby speel, gaan hy goed skop.
100%.
Verstaan? So, ek sal presies weet, soos daar was een wedstryd wat ons gespeel het, ek dink AD was dit met die, waar was dit die Seal 10 TUT up in Pretoria.
Yes.
I had great kickers that day as well. You have, I think, Lyle Hendricks, AD Kibedu, and Keenan Fortune.
Yeah.
But in the warm-up, we was like warm-up before the game, but Lyle Hendricks was kicking, he slotted every kick. And then AD didn't kick it that well. And I decided, and Chester was asking me, who do you think was the kicker? And I was chatting with Lyle. I said to him, listen, don't let your kicking influence your game or your game your kicking, because I'm going to allow you to kick. And that night he was kicking 100%. So it's all about the balance between your rugby and your kicking, and it makes it sometimes a little bit difficult, but it can be easy as well.
And that was actually the game that everybody thought we were going to lose.
Exactly.
Because they were on a high. I think they were like first, I think.
Yeah.
We were tied by points.
Yeah.
We were tied by points, but we had to go play in Pretoria.
In Pretoria, yeah.
Full packed stadium. But we gave him an 80 that night.
Exactly. And that day, Lyle was kicking.
I'm
I
still
think,
angry
12.
at the coaches because they give me 5 minutes.
Now, there was a plan with you, so that's
No,
why.
they give me a 5 minutes, bro. The score was,
But
I think, all the way from Cape Town to Pretoria, bro, for 5 minutes. No, man, I could stay at home.
yeah, but look, how do you enjoy it? You understand?
Ah, it was a memory. Great memory. Great times,
Yeah.
yeah? Memories last forever, Coach Ben.
Exactly. So
Here we go.
Look, Coach, one of your highlights as a coach, because I know you have a lot. I mean, if we speak about beating Rondebosch, beating Bishops with Milnerton High School. Also, I think you drew against Tuks, or they just won the game in the last
lost
minute.
that game in the last
In the last
95th
minute.
minute. Yeah.
I remember that. Which game for you as a coach was the highlight for you thus far? Obviously, you still have a long way to go as a coach, at least till 70.
Oh, no. That kind of things. I think I want to sit in the booster and just eating cravings. To be honest with you, on a senior type of level, my coaching highlight was definitely Young Guns and the Varsity Shield, where we won it with Chester as well. But I wasn't involved really in the coaching besides the kicking coach.
Yeah.
That was great for me as well. That's like a start as well. But for me, it was the Young Guns. Nobody was giving us a chance that year. First year in the Varsity Cup is
Yeah.
history that UWC was making. Myself and Donovan Sinclair, it's like, and with the other medical staff, we were just telling ourselves, listen, we want to give it a go. Okay, our first game didn't win that well against UCT.
Yeah.
We lost, I think, with 60-20. And we just go back to the drawing board and say, listen, we can still make it a memorable season because it's this guy's first time at Young Guns as well. And after that, things just starts picking up. And the one game we really targeted was Tuks at UWC. I don't want to talk bad about the ref, but the first time I see we play soccer time in rugby as well. Yeah, and we narrowly, I think, lost that game 33-35. They kicked the last 95th minute penalty. But the guys was really down and out, and between myself and Sinclair, Toby, we picked the guys up, and we still had a chance. But that was one of my best coaching at the type of senior level, at the Young Guns level, to reach that milestone of to achieve something in life. And on a schoolboy level, definitely, it was your boss, and then it becomes Bishops. So that was really one of the 3 highlights of my rugby career coaching. So yeah, and I always, Rondebosch will always be a memory, winning them at Boss, the same with Bishops. It was great that, we've got great players at that time, like got your DV9, you've got your Frank Timani. So guys, Keenan Hood, you didn't have a problem coaching them. You just need to teach them the basics and a little bit
Coachable.
Exactly. So yeah, that was one of my best schoolboy rugby coaching.
So, Coach Pitt, as a coach, have you ever felt your back is against the wall as a coach? And how did you pick it up from a negative?
Listen, if I go back now to club rugby, Northern's in those years was Northern's Avonwood. Now it's just Northern's. It was a big name in the whole of the Western Cape, even in South Africa. That was a big name to play that, a club like that. And then all of a sudden they went through a dip. Donovan and them also gone to other clubs and stuff like that. And they went further down the drain. And to go back to a club like that, and I was telling myself, listen, go fix where it can be fixed. I know it's going to take time. We don't have the capacity in terms of finance and stuff like that. Yes, there is a little bit of finance, small sponsors getting onto board, but you must give small steps to get to the top again. And there's a lot of times where I find myself now, especially in club rugby with Northerns, where my back is against the wall literally. But I've got a great support coaching staff system there, like with Alfonso Jacobs, Tunkies, Toby also helped us here and there with consulting. I've got the Morgan De Brain there, I've got Mario Swartz there, I've got Marco De Silva, Jerome Sanderson. Those guys sometimes really makes my work so easy because they all doing things outside of a box. You understand?
100%.
So, and I've got a great exco staff as well at Northern's, like AD knows, Lance, Ted, Nicky, Snyders. I've got Ronald, Hendricks. My wife is also on the exco, and there's many more that I can say, but with your back against the wall, it's difficult because you don't pay players. Players coming and going. They practice like tonight they there, tomorrow night they're not there. Now you must prepare for a game. Sometimes it's tough. But what we find out at clubs that don't have money is like if you can keep the player happy, in terms of like what we're doing now. This is our initiatives. Like for instance, if we practice on public holidays, we make sure the guys is getting food. You understand? We make sure at least a bus is for free for them to go to away games. We have functions, and that is where the guys is interacting. That is where Northern's is player wise it's growing. Player wise it's growing, but there's still the challenges that can keep your back always against the wall. So,
100%.
but it's easy to get out of it as well, especially when you've got a team that really helps you, and you've got guys from outside that can ask for help, and it's tough. Like I tell you again, it's very tough to turn it around, but it's a challenge. Everything in life is challenges.
Yeah.
You can't run away from it. You can't close your eyes and just say
Face it.
tomorrow. Like you Milnerton guys, you know you've got millions.
No,
You
no,
can
no,
give me
no,
half
no,
of that
no.
millions, then it's fine. You understand?
We wish.
But you understand? But there is challenges. Either you take it on the chin, or either you walk away from it. No, I'm not a guy that can walk away easily from a challenge that I'm already put myself in. So yeah, it's tough.
Coach, and then the last question, any advice for the youth out there, especially children that's from previously disadvantaged communities? Any advice to youngsters in general?
Listen, today's kids is a different make and breed. You know that by now. But if they can put themselves in an environment where they can really strive and make something out of their lives, that's already a big step. But it starts at home. It starts with discipline. It starts with what you're doing at home. How do you implement it at home? You understand? It's like now recently, I was telling the boys up in Durban, the Kernsley Festival, I was telling them the backs, especially now the backs. I was telling them, listen guys, just do me a favor, go research POLC, P-O-L-C, and just find out what the words mean. And then one player was standing up, he said, Coach, but it's planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. I said, if you can get that 4 words right, then you will succeed in life. So that is what we must teach the kids, the real stuff in life, like your POLC. Get your planning right, get your organizing right, get your leading, because you are in control of that situation. Nobody else is in control. So we must start somewhere with the young kids, but we must also teach them how to do it right. You
100%.
understand? So the opportunities is there, don't get me wrong, but that POLC must be in place. If that is in place, I can't foresee that kids can't make a proper life of living.
All 8 family, that's Coach Pietersen in a nutshell and in a POLC. Get the POLC right. If you can get it 4 words, you will succeed in life, Coach.
That's correct. 100%.
POLC. Here
We
we
go.
go. Back to our results of the past weekend. Fixtures for the coming weekend. Coach Pet, lekker rugby. A lot of rugby. And a lot has happened. And a lot is going to happen this coming weekend. Adrian, please take us through what happened the past weekend.
Okay, so Super Rugby results, the Blues beating the Force 40-19. Pardon? Expected.
Force disappointment.
Fiji Drua beating the Reds 36-33. Expected in Fiji. Hurricanes beating the Chiefs, surprise, 35-17.
Expected.
Surprise. Brumbies beating the Waratahs 40-17. I think
I expected a nail bite here because it's Australian derby. But
And then obviously the shocker of the weekend, I would say, Moana Pacifica beating the Highlanders 29 points to 34.
I think this was a game of the team who won the most.
Yeah, And I think Adi Xavier at the moment he
Definitely.
is leading that team like a champ. And then we had our Heineken Cup, also shocking result. Northampton sides beating Leinster 34 points to 37. I told you that was going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Bordeaux Beglers beating Toulouse 35 points to 17. And then we have the Challenge Cup results. Edinburgh losing out to Bath 39 points to 24. Leon beating Racing 29 points to 15.
Racing disappointed me heavy.
I knew that was going to happen. I'm telling you. I knew it. And then obviously our local, let's say local is lekker.
Land Enders.
Boland. SA Cup results. Coach Pat, your former team you played for, obviously destroying SVD, 52 points to 5.
Griquas.
I want to say congrats, Harvis. I think he's doing a great job now in his return as well. So yeah.
And Boland just coming short against the Ealing Pumas, 32 points to 34. I actually called the Boland for the
Amir,
victory.
almost, but almost never enough.
Hey? Then we have the Falke beating the Leopard, surprisingly putting up a fight, 31 points to 45. And then, not the surprise, the Cheetahs destroying the guys. 106 for 7.
Who was that?
Cheetahs versus the
Border
Bulldogs.
Okay, luckily.
That's a 10 overs cricket. The beats. Every over was about 30 points.
Then obviously we're going to the main thing.
The main thing stays the main thing.
Super League A, Super League B, and Super League C. We have UCT beating St. George's 29 points to 23. Maar die is alweer pakken vat.
Ja, de Raven, die moet opstaan. Die vat pak.
53 points to 38 on the Danny Craven. Falls by beating Marties.
I saw the result. It was a.
We narrowly losing to the Real Madrid of Club Rugby.
Stop. No Real Madrid, bro.
No Real Madrid.
You can't pay a lot of money in this type of rugby. I'm sorry. I'm brutally honest. They can come for me. But boys, now me. Come up.
So you say Milnerton Rugby Club lose against
Van der Stel. At Van der Stel, last minute penalty on the 10-meter line.
So
the Theo Marinas he missed a penalty a minute and a half before.
Yes.
Straight, and then he kicked let's say on an angle. I think a much more difficult kick. He kicked
I know you Milnerton Rugby boys, but so that means your pork wasn't right on the day. Eh?
No, it wasn't.
And the other thing is, Angel, let me tell you something. You can't tell me a narrow lose is almost it's a lose. You can't be almost right.
Yeah.
You're wrong. So just remember that. Right is right, my friend.
Wrong is wrong.
Exactly. So you lose. Doesn't matter if it's 10-9 or 50-59, whatever. You lose.
As Coach said earlier, some refs are making shocking decisions.
Yeah, I think we need to actually cover that for a whole show. That's a show on its own.
That's a show on its own. Okay.
We need to bring in the head of wrestling. Coach Pat, and then obviously Iska Holmes narrowly losing to Hammies at Hammies, 15 points to 13.
Sometimes, sorry Coach, sometimes I struggle to read the team SK Holmes because a week earlier they're playing Valises. And Valises beat them 60-something. Now they're coming back to the Hamiltons, who is our champs, and they almost beat them.
But remember one thing, they are neighbors, so it's a derby. It's a derby.
So there's always rights going on.
So, Coach, what's your thought on a game like that?
Like derbies, it's very difficult to predict because you don't know. Scottish Kloof, they can rock up one day and could have beat Hamiltons.
They were the only team to beat Hamiltons.
You understand? So
100%.
Scottish Kloof is a very unpredictable team at this point of time. They've got very good coaches from what I heard and read in the newspapers or over social media. So heads up for Kloof because it wasn't a one-way traffic like you said the week before against Villages. So now it just shows you when it comes to derbies, it's very difficult. Who's going to be the winner? Who's going to be the loser? So, and we love that type of games. The community love that type of games.
Tygerberg beating Brackenfell 46 points to 20.
I
I
think
think it was
Tygerberg.
expected in aan die hok. Is maar tough aan die hok.
Yeah, I watched the game before we went to George, Tygerberg and Brackenfell, a friendly.
Yeah.
And Brackenfell on the day was good. But with Tygerberg, it's unexpected. They are a team that can run riot any day, any time. You must just cover your wickets at the end of the day.
But
I'm honest.
I think Tygerberg is the team to watch in this competition this year.
100.
100%. Villagers beating UWC 52 points to 33. Jumbo Lingo. Yes. At die midfield.
Yeah, it's tough. Huh? Provincial against students, it's a tough one.
Oh, Tambo's playing for UWC.
Is Zambo playing for UWC?
100%.
Let's say
Wow.
player coach.
Player coach.
No comment. I'm not going to comment on that one.
But then Super League B, Vineyards beating Calmo 31-18. Kraaifontein getting a shock against you. Goodwood 29 points to 15. Coach Ali them narrowly losing to Collegians 26 points to 28. Makassa losing against Donovan Sinclair's
Clay.
team.
Huh?
In
Yeah.
Makassa, 30
Shoot.
points to 34. Shout out there to Coach Dobie.
Yeah, that Rosa is on another level.
Sy katte is toe ek my meisie.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
a
was
song.
As ek na, moet speel. Maar ons op Cape Town Stadium gaan speel.
Wie is dat nou?
In Primrose. Ek wil na hulle toe gaan.
En hang af. En hang af.
Nee, dan gaan ek saam met coach ek wil nie aan toe gaan.
Luister, kom ek sê vir jou, Angel, net 2 minute of 'n minuut. Ek het by die Rose ook gespeel nie. Dit is 'n ander tipe kultuur. Maar omdat ek daar gespeel het, was dit so 'n lekker kultuur dat ek sal enige tyd terug gaan na daai klub toe. Don't get me wrong. Because jy kry mense wat regtig waar omgee vir daai klub. Jy kry mense wat hulle hart en siele op vir hy try sal speel. Verstaan? So en dis wat dit lekker maak en die supporters is great. Ek sê vir jou, ek het goeie vriende daar gemaak. Mazadi Gemildin, Ariel Davids. Daar's 'n klomp Ridal Adams, Fiki, Wally, Arab, die Adams broers. Dit is 'n very tight club. Ek bedoel, ek
100%.
beloof dit vir jou. Dit is om by die Rose te speel, om uit te stiek is nie lekker nie. Maar om pak te vat is 'n ander ding. Die Rose is 'n ander maaksel. Maar
Here
dit is
we
'n
go.
baie lekker klub.
Connect NTK drawing against Ballard 34 points to 34, sorry. And then Hansen Arts losing against the Amadeus. Peter D, director of coaching. Hulle het gesê loading, maar ek hoor
Man is binne.
is vas.
Ek dink Hensenarts gaan 'n bietjie deur 'n dip.
Mm.
So en ek follow hulle results en dit is hier 'n klub wat sommer elke week na week sal verloor.
Glory, 100%.
En ek dink daar's as die manne die dinge kan regmaak en dan sal Hensenarts opstaan.
And the thoughts on Peter de Villiers as the Amadeus director of coach.
I saw a couple of videos him coaching there, but I wasn't sure if he is there. So
People said I must actually go look on the socials. I just saw like on Facebook the picture first, and it said the write-up said
Sometimes pictures can be deceiving, eh?
exactly.
no, it said listen, it said director of coaching loading into die volgende dag toe post hulle die man by die oefening so.
Ek sal luister by Pieter. As dit die waarheid is.
You never know.
Ek sal hom luister. Ek sal by hom luister. As dit die waarheid is, dit die waarheid. As dit nie die
En
waarheid
ek sal doen as die waarheid is.
Exactly. So, is net 'n goeie ding.
And then Super League C, Caledonian Rovers losing narrowly to Delft 14 points to 19. Where the Atlantis losing to Scottsdene. Scottsdene doing well.
Yes.
They're in the top
3.
top 3.
Top 3.
They Atlantis losing 22 points to 29. I'm not too sure what's happening at Atlantis. I mean, they had such a great season last year.
And the year
and
before as well.
had a great sevens campaign as well. So not too sure what's happening. But hopefully they can fix it. But early days though, so you never know. Miskien net die katte net miskien in die bola gaan speel 'n bietjie.
Ja, een Riga.
Ja. Violets Sadiq Isaacs, Violets beating Gardens 23
Nail
points
bite,
to 22.
Nail bite.
I saw the video after the game and the community that was standing around the first team. And I think Isaac Wise is also coaching there. if I'm
Yeah,
not
Isaac is
mistaken.
also
Isaac Wise and the words that came out of his mouth after the game very inspirational. And I think it's definitely gonna lift up that community in that club. in a good spirit. Then we had our Strand losing to Young People's 31 points to 22. And then Rangers beating Langa Narrowly 25 points to 22. And then another Strand derby, Strand United versus All Saints. All Saints beating Strand United. Daar in die gat, daar is tough ou
tough, is
Jesus.
baie tough.
So
That's
like,
tough.
see was
26 points to 27. I think this was the most challenging scores
yes.
if you look throughout the leagues. Tight scores, which
Was
is
een
good
nail
for
biter voor de
rugby.
selectie.
Good
it
for
is.
rugby.
It's actually a difficult league to get out, eh? But I must tell you guys, Delft look really good.
Yes.
They are a club to watch out for the season 2020-25. So and I think they've got actually good players there as well. So they are a
100%.
team to watch out for.
Definitely. And then we're just gonna go over super rugby fixtures. Fiji Drua versus the Blues.
Blues.
I'll say Fiji Drua.
I say Blues,
Waratahs versus the Reds.
Wat het was.
Reds,
Reds as well. Crusaders versus the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Crusaders.
Crusaders,
Force versus the Brumbies. I'll go Force.
Force.
our Brumbies.
Yeah, the URC fixtures.
Brumbies, it's another make.
Let's go.
Sharks versus Ospreys.
Sharks.
Socks.
Sharks. Munster versus Ulster.
Sure.
Munster.
Munster.
I'll say
go
Munster.
Ulster.
Bulls versus Cardiff.
Bulls.
Bulls.
Bulls at Loftus, definitely.
Yeah.
Benetton versus Glasgow Warriors.
Benetton.
Benetton as well.
Benetton at home. Stormers versus the Dragons.
Stormers.
Stormers.
Stormers. as
Not
well.
Stormers. Sasha.
And big ups to Damien
On his
Gaza on his 100th game for the Stormers. Well done, and you really deserve everything that's coming to you. Then Leinster versus Zebra. Leinster obviously hurting
Leinster.
after that loss, so
Lost,
I
yeah.
think they're gonna pump that team. Full.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Connacht versus Edinburgh. I'll go Edinburgh. Connacht is struggling.
I also go with Edinburgh.
And then Lions playing on Sunday against Scarlets.
Lions.
I'll go Lions. Lions at home,
Up in
definitely.
Joburg is difficult.
Then we have the SA Cup. Coach Pat, the Bloemfontein derby, Griquas versus the Cheetahs.
I must definitely go for my old team, my friend. It is
Griquas
Griquas.
en die Kimberley. Nooit
Groot
waar.
gat is te groot vir hulle. Hulle gaan
Wegeraak en hy gaan.
Hulle gaan wegraak. Definitely.
Eastern Province versus Boland.
Boland.
Holland.
Falke versus Border.
Valken.
Ek sê
Falke.
Falke.
Leopards versus Bangela SVD.
SVD. Angela SVD. Regeer het verder.
I'll go SVD as well.
You think so? Are they playing up in Ports?
Yeah,
Yes.
Now we'll go with Leopards.
Leopards. Griffins versus Ailing Pumas. I'll go
Pumas.
Pumas.
Negotiable.
Definitely.
Pumas. That was our fixtures. Coach Pat, from our side, we'd just like to thank you for coming out tonight, and thank your wife for allowing you
On short notice.
on
to
short
get out.
notice on short notice to come out and just chat a bit of rugby and your experience and your past, and we truly appreciate it because we coach altyd vir ons gesê daai boek wat jy lees het ek geskryf. So from our side we just like to thank you and thank you for the wisdom you fed us throughout the years, and you're still doing. So thanks for what you do for club rugby and for the youth out there. We really and truly appreciate it.
Follow us. Don't forget. Bulk.
Yeah, please.
Bulk.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I really enjoyed the show. So yeah, maybe next time we can have it somewhere else.
Definitely, I think we're gonna have a fire pit.
Exactly.
Chat the biggie ball. I mean, then we just like to thank our sponsors, FLM Attorneys and SSA Custom Designs for a fantastic support. We really and truly appreciate you guys. Keep on doing what you're doing. If you need any water, if you need any law advice, we got you. Please, numbers is on top here. Dial them, hulle is altyd binne.
Binne. Jy moet net praat. Jy moet net praat.
Hulle is altyd binne.
Here we go. Then, follow us. 3 things.
What's it?
Like.
Share.
And subscribe.
Here we go.